Hi everyone, my name is Eve. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. Today is mid-December, but I'm filming my last video of 2023. This might be uploaded in the first few days of 2024. It depends on my uploading calendar that I'm planning. But today we are looking at all the books I read in 2023, including the ones I read before starting this channel, and putting them into appropriate tiers. You might say, but wait, if you're making this mid-month, you might read some books that you might want to put in this video, and that's true, but it's a purely logistical thing. Of course, holidays are coming up. No one's really gonna feel productive, but I still want to have enough content to sustain the channel till sort of beginning to mid-January, when more new content is gonna pop up. So I've just been filming for the past couple weekends in bulk, getting things edited, scheduled, ready to go. So anything that I might read in between this time and New Year, I'll just put in my tier ranking for 2024. Obviously, I will still make a December wrap up as per normal, but apart from that, it's just best thing for everything really when it comes to organizing this channel. Because I have talked about pretty much all of these books in some detail already, I won't go into describing synopsis or anything like that. I will just put them into tiers and summarize my definite opinion of them. And of course, I have named the tiers after some Taylor Swift lyrics. This time I picked some obscure, lengthy-ish ones just because they were the first ones that popped into my head, and I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna go with it. I'm not gonna overthink it. So without any more further ado, let's get on with it.
Go on, baby. Get down. Get down.
Right, so you can see here 5 tiers. Again, pretty self-explanatory. If you're coming my way, just don't. Just for the books that just did not work for me this year at all. DNFs, 1 stars, whatever. It isn't love, it isn't hate, it's just indifference. For books that I didn't hate enough to put them in here, but I didn't like them per se. It's just, at the end of the day, I did not care for it. Up on a Roof with a Schoolgirl Crush, just all sort of mid books. Of course, it's the middle tier that they were fine, but they were nothing to write home about. I didn't feel particularly enthralled reading them or anything. I Had the Best Day with You Today. It's for great books that I had an amazing time with, but for whatever reason they just weren't favorites. And I'd Like to Hang Out with You for My Whole Life is for set favorites. And I have no idea how many there'll be because I've become a lot pickier with books lately. Especially since starting this channel, which might not be such a bad thing. We'll see. But anyway, we have The Last Final Girl, which if you have seen my re-uploaded November wrap-up, I said it already, but I have no idea what happened with that video because it seemed completely fine when I was uploading it, and then it uploaded while I was out, so I didn't actually double check it, so that's my bad. But I don't know what happened with the visuals past, like, I don't know, 6-minute mark or something. It just completely crashed. Maybe YouTube felt my feelings about this book, I don't know, but it has to go in here because I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. It's like, it was just wasted potential on all accounts for me, and it missed all the marks. So I think this is probably the only tier that I can put it in. People Like Us, a soft YA mystery with standard mean girl clique type of stuff. Nothing to write home about, but for what it was fine. Such a Good Liar by Sue Wallman. This one, again, I'm putting up in here. It was fine. Nothing amazing. I think it was the case of I felt like I was definitely out of the target audience for this one because it just felt so juvenile that I found myself skimming a lot because I thought, yeah, this is the type of YA that I'm probably not going to read again because it did not click with me anymore. But if I read this like 5-6 years ago, maybe I would have thought it was amazing. So it is what it is. Now, I'm not sure why there are 2 of them, but I'm putting Monastery as 1, although I read 4 out of 7 installments that are currently published, and this is definitely my new all-time favorite. not just because it's written by an old friend of mine, but it's genuinely an amazing book. I'll just put both of them so that it's not in this bit anymore. But I would recommend it to everyone. It's just so heartfelt, funny, while also keeping up the stakes and the mystery, and it can be generally horrifying sometimes. Then The Locked Door by Frida McFadden. I'm not reading any more of her stuff because I was informed of a bit of a controversy around her authenticity as a writer after I already read this one. But yeah, again, this one, it was fine. Like, it wasn't anything special. Again, I found myself sucked in by how easy her writing style was, but also just as it sucked me in, I found myself getting bored like a third into the book. It just didn't have much to offer substance-wise. Who we have next? So we have Run on Red, which I really, really enjoyed. It was fast-paced, intense, actually focused on events happening in the present. There were just some inconsistencies that could have been easily fixed with some research, very basic for the time period that it was set in, because it was set in 2006. So yeah, it's just I found that it was a little lazy in those parts, so I can't really call it an all-time favorite, unfortunately, because of that. Then we have Survive the Night by Riley Sager, which is my first book of his, and I'm also putting it in I Had the Best Day with You Today because I really enjoyed it, but there were parts where I found myself thinking this is getting a bit too much, and also I did not enjoy the mental health representation in this book, although I understand why that was done. It doesn't mean I had to like it. So I still gave it, I think, 4 stars, but yeah, I wouldn't call it an all-time favorite. I'm really looking forward to reading more of his stuff, though. Then we have The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead. This is going in I'd Like to Hang Out With You for My Whole Life. It was dark, messed up, and I genuinely loved it in all its gritty glory. We have The Maidens by Alex Michaelides, and this one I enjoyed. I understand why some people didn't, and now that I think about it, did I enjoy it enough to... Yeah, I'm gonna put it in I Had the Best Day With You Today, because I just had a good time reading it. I had qualms with it that I already discussed in detail, but it was still good fun and it was well written. Next we have In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead, and this one is going to go in, again, I Had the Best Day With You Today, because I really enjoyed it. I thought it was some pretty solid mystery that, when you think about it, is actually terrifying because it's set in the reality of how brutal the world can be sometimes, but it was just lacking that extra something for me that I talked about in my wrap-up. Then we have Happiness, which is volume 1 of the manga that I'm not sure I'm gonna read more of, but I will put this one in I Had the Best Day With You Today because it was just a good fun time. I enjoyed it. Down by Rory Power. This one, I just found it so back and forth and quite repetitive with how the main character reacted to things happening around her. The plot twist was... where do I put this? I do have thoughts about it, so I guess it's gonna go here. Upon a Roof with a Schoolgirl Crush, because I thought it had potential and I enjoyed bits of it, but yeah, it can stay there. It was okay, but yeah, just okay for me. Then I Found You by Lisa Jewell. Thought it had some good vibes and some solid plot twists while still exploring some characters, so it can go. And I Had the Best Day With You Today. Prom Queen. How did I feel about this one? I think I gave it 3 stars, but it's like... Yeah, I'm just gonna put it in here, because, like, it was fine. It was okay, but yeah, it felt a bit juvenile as well as a bit amateurish, but yeah, I mean, it's one of them. Ace of Spades, I will also put here. I already spoke about why I thought that way about this book. I understand what it stands for, and I think that's really important, but for me, it was just the pacing and some stuff, just storyline wise, that I didn't particularly care for. And I thought could have been edited down a bit, but that's just my opinion. We have All You Need Is Kill by, sorry, I forgot the author's name, but it's a manga, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would because I knew it would be heavy on sci-fi, but yeah, it really surprised me. So I'm putting it in I Had the Best Day With You Today because it was just a really good time, if not a bit heartbreaking. Then The Honeys. This one, I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't what I got with this book, so I'm going to put it in here because I don't have strong feelings about it either way. It's just not the worst book ever, but I can't say that I actually liked it, so let's just leave it there. This is where we talk things out. I mean, I didn't have the best day with it because it was horrifying and I felt really anxious reading it. But I don't know where else to put it because I liked it a lot more than this tier, but not enough to call it my all-time favorite, so it's gonna have to go in here. But just for this one, I would probably write I had the best brackets worst day with you today. So yeah. Night in the Woods by Christopher Triana is gonna have to go in It Isn't Love, It Isn't Hate, It's Just Indifference, because it just intrigued me for like 50 pages or so, and then it just lost me fully. So yeah, it did not work for me, but it might be someone's favorite thing in the world. Like, I can't say don't try this book because it wasn't for me, but I don't think it's a universally bad book. Speaking of books that did not work for me at all, it's The Last by Hannah Jameson. I will talk about it more in my review, but for me, the first like 15 pages were solid, and then the rest of it just fell apart for me. Just nope. Then Cover Your Tracks. This one I gave like 3.5, which is why it's I don't know where to put this now, because I have a lot of opinions about it, which if anyone watched my, I think it was September wrap-up, they would remember, but yeah, I don't know. The more I sit with I'm gonna put it in here, because it's like, the more time I sit with this book, the more I realize how my expectations were mismatched, and it just, yeah, some bits about it that did not work for me, they really don't work for me, but I still enjoyed it. It just, yeah. This is gonna go, and I Had the Best Day With You Today because it restored some of the love that I had lost for her after the last one, which was it? The one that was described as Ferris Bueller, that I can't remember the name. So that says a lot, I think. But yeah, I had a great time reading. Nothing more to tell. A Taste of Darkness, which is a YA horror anthology. Also, I Had the Best Day With You Today because it was just a great time. I enjoyed some stories a lot more than others, but it was still quite nice to see all the mixtures of different types of horror. Then Pine, it will go in here because I will talk about it more in my December wrap-up, but again, it missed marks for me, although it had some potential, which is a shame. The same for The Graces. It had potential, but overall just ended up not working for me particularly. We have Behind Her Eyes, which again I will put in I Had the Best Day With You Today because I have a lot of thoughts about it, and I've spoken about those thoughts, but as far as the ranking goes, like, it wasn't an all-time favorite, but I liked it a lot more than this, even though the ending made me feel a bit hopeless and frustrated. So again, this would probably qualify with the whole brackets worst in between these words. But yeah, it's still a book that I definitely recommend to read and make your own opinion about it, because it's a journey no matter what. The Chalk Man by C.J. Tudor. It will go in Up on a Roof with a Schoolgirl Crush, because it was fun. I had a good enough time reading it, but I didn't feel like, wow, this is my new favorite chef's kiss. That of Mrs. Westaway by Ruth Ware, which I will put in here. Honestly, so far anything that Ruth Ware has put out that I have got my hands on, I really enjoyed, and she's not missed for me yet. And the day that happens, if it does happen, I'm gonna be very upset. But for now, I am looking forward to picking up whichever book of hers I'm picking up next. I feel like I need to get to the Turn of the Key, because that's what everyone's raving about, but I feel like she has a lot more to offer than just that one. So, I don't know. We'll see which one. Then I have It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, which, I mean, I don't even need to describe in any way. Although I've not talked about it on this channel. I will one day, trust me. But this one, it's like, I don't even know where to put it. Definitely not at the top or at the second one. Or in this one, because I do have a lot of feelings about it. It's like, it was either okay or I hated it, but you know, for the purposes of my feelings about it, I'm gonna put it in here. But it's like, I didn't hate all of it, but there were quite a few things I hated about it. So, yeah, I think it's more about what the story itself says and what it implies rather than the writing style, because for the sort of stuff she's writing, I mean, she writes okay. I mean, I loved Verity, so yeah, it's more so some statements about the story and what it implies, and yeah, it made me feel a bit ill in my mind. So, yeah, it can stay there for all intents and purposes. The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. I will put it in here because it just did not work for me, but I didn't hate it, but yeah, I didn't like it either. This is why this tier's there. Right, so then we have The Night She Disappeared by Lisa Jewell, which I had a great time with, so I'm gonna put it in I Had the Best Day With You Today. It just wasn't an all-time favorite. Then we got Perfect Blue. This is not the novelization of the anime movie that actually terrified me. It's sort of a sequel anthology story collection. It has 3 short stories, and this one was okay. Like, it was fine, but definitely doesn't live up to the anime movie. Things have gotten worse since we last spoke. For some reason, like I said, this book made me feel very icky, and the writing style did not work for me in a lot of cases. So I'm gonna put it in here, because, like, I don't know where else to put it, even if I have things to say about it, but at the same time, don't feel like it's worth it. So, yeah. By Shari Lapina, immediately here. The first one I read of hers. Loved it. I would like to hang out with this book for my whole life because it was amazing. For me, anyway. I really, really enjoyed it. This Delicious Death. It was such a great time. I was going to say lighthearted, but the subject matter is a bit brutal. Still, it was a really interesting story in multiple ways, and I'm putting it in I Had the Best Day With You Today. Pieces of Her by Karen Slaughter. This was my first taste of her as an author, and unfortunately this story didn't work for me at all. I DNF'd like a quarter in, so it will have to go in here, but I will definitely try out more of her stuff. I'm just gonna guess this one, for whatever reason, wasn't right for me, and That's fine. The End of Her by Shari Lapina. This one is again going into I'd Like to Hang Out With You for My Whole Life, because I really enjoyed it. I had an amazing time with it. Yeah, I did say in my wrap up that I think the pacing could have been a bit tighter on it, but apart from that, I mean, I don't really have any complaints. Stephen King's The Shining, everyone knows where this is going. It's a reread, but yeah, no notes there. Broken Summer, it's gonna go in here. It isn't love, it isn't hate, it is just indifference, because I barely remember this book. If someone asked me what happened in this book, I'd be like, something that didn't seem like what it was. Because, yeah, it did not make much sense to me at points, if I'm honest. For Us, it's gonna go up on a roof with a schoolgirl crush, because it was fun at what it set out to do. A bit too soft on the mystery for my liking, as I said, but yeah, I mean, you know, with some books you get what you're given and you know what to expect. So yeah, I wasn't expecting anything to, you know, sing off the rooftops about. Well, ironically, this here does says they are on a roof. But yeah, I didn't take it too seriously, so it was still a good time. The Girl on the Other Side, I read 2 volumes of this manga, and I did enjoy it, but again, it wasn't like, wow, I need to buy this whole series right away. It wasn't anything like that, so also putting it here. Then I have An Unwanted Guest by Shari Lapina. This one unfortunately was just a tad lower, but still amazing, so I'm putting it in here. Because I did have the best day with it. It just probably didn't earn a spot to hang out with me for my entire life, and again, that is fine. Then I got Mexican Gothic, which is also going in here, although again, the bracket would work because it grossed me out a lot at points, but I still really enjoyed it, even though me and my book club, we found, I say my book club, like I don't host it, but I just joined it, and we talked about this book, and we found some interesting, not faults with it, but just sort of shortcomings for us anyway. So that was an interesting discussion, but I still had a good time reading it, and I wanted to know what happened, so I put it in that tier. Midnight is the Darkest Hour by Ashley Winstead is gonna go in here, because I definitely didn't hate it, but I didn't like it either. Shiver by Ali Reynolds. It's gonna go here because it was a good enough time, but again, nothing special, nothing too amazing. The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. I'm being a bit controversial maybe in putting it here, because I feel like this was the wrong book to start with when it came to this author, because I read these 3. These are the only 3 so far that I have read of hers, and I enjoyed both of these a lot more than The Family Upstairs. So even though that's probably one of her most, if not the most popular one now, it did not work for me as much as I hoped it would. Then Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid is going here. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, she's my exception to the rule, because I know her books have romance and drama, contemporary, all that stuff. But yeah, as far as this one goes, I didn't like it as much as Seven Husbands, which is definitely one of my all-time favorites, and it would go here if I read it last year. Jesus Christ, this year. I do think I read Seven Husbands. No, it might have been 2021. Anyway, I didn't like it as much, but that's fine. The Flowers of Evil manga, it was okay. Didn't like it as much as I thought that I would. Sort of at the last stretch, it seems. There's just a few left. How to Survive a Ghost Story is having to go here, because I did not even finish it. I just found it so pretentious and annoying. It just did not work for me. Gillian Flynn's Gone Girl, 100% I can't believe it took me so long to read it. It was just as amazing as everyone said it would be. And I've seen the film, and obviously I knew what happened. I knew the twist and whatnot. That's, it was hard not to be spoiled even before seeing the film, because I saw the film first. But yeah, I mean, no notes there. Isolation Horror Trilogy. Anthology. I swear I can't speak today. This one did not work for me, but there were a couple stories that I really enjoyed, so I'm gonna put it in here. Then we got Little Witch Academia, which was a fun little manga, but I'm not really interested in continuing reading it. It can also go in Up on a Roof with a Schoolgirl Crush. Then we got Night Film, and I really enjoyed this one, but towards the end I just found it a bit... I mean, it was a long book. It was such a long book. So after having sat on it a bit for a while, I'm gonna put it in Up on a Roof with a Schoolgirl Crush, because it was fine in the end, but there were parts of it that didn't work for me. There were parts that did, but yeah, I was gonna say I did not have an amazing time with it towards the end because it just kept dragging for me. Then Pet Sematary by Stephen King, no notes, going in here. Another reread. Three Truths and a Lie by Brett Hallinger. It was so juvenile and so ridiculous, but I actually really enjoyed it for what it was, so I'm gonna put it in here. And the last one, we have Where the Crawdads Sing, and I know the whole controversy with the author, which is why I'm glad that I bought this secondhand. If I knew of the controversy before buying it, I probably wouldn't have, but I only looked into it after I already read it, so I think I already mentioned it, but thought it's worth saying. I enjoyed the book for what it was. I'm sorry to say because of who the author is, but I still really liked it, and I can understand why it's so popular. So it's not an all-time favorite, so I'm gonna put it in here. All the books I have read in 2023 put into tiers. And just looking here, sorry, I just want to make sure that it's all visible. I do think that overall it has been a relatively successful reading year. As you can see, there have been quite a lot of average reads or reads that I didn't care much for, although I will say that a lot of these reads were kind of in the last couple months, which is a bit of a shame when it comes to, avoiding reading slumps. But either way, things like that do happen. Like I said, I have got pickier with my reading. Dante, stop now! But there's a lot of really good books that I really enjoy that actually outnumber both average and sort of ones. And while there aren't that many new all-time favorites, I think if we take out this double here, we have 8 out of 60. That, to be fair, that's not too bad. Yes, 2 of them are rereads, but still, that's time spent. And there's only a handful that I didn't like at all and wouldn't recommend. So yeah, I think that it's not been a bad reading year, and I'm really looking forward to see what 24 brings. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe. I would love to know your opinions if you read any of these, and I'll see you next time. Bye.